Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another episode of Cricket Mehfil. I'm your host, Behram Qazi, and today we will be reviewing the recently concluded ODI series played between Pakistan and the West Indies in Multan, in which Pakistan was victorious by a margin of 3-0. And we have a very, very special guest with us over here today. She was a top three contestant on Pepsi Voice of Pakistan 2022, and she is a fellow cricket tragic. Hijab Zahid. How are you doing, Hijab?
Wonderful, doing wonderful. It's so nice to be back here. The first time I was here was with Hassan Bhai, and now it's with you. So, yeah, I'm very excited and obviously happy because, yoo-hoo, Pakistan won.
Absolutely, and we love to have you here as well. And congratulations, of course, to both you and the Pakistani fans who are watching this video. Hijab, first up, I'd like to talk about Pakistan's top three. It's a very fabled top three. They've been performing consistently now for 5 years, ever since that Champions Trophy in 2017. And contrary to Pakistan teams of the past, where you've had fragile top orders, now your top three is your main strength as far as batting is concerned. Yes, Fakhar Zaman had a lean series with the bat, but we all know what he can do. And then Imam ul Haq, the way he has just re-emerged in ODI cricket, not with respect to his average, but his strike rate. He plays with a much higher strike rate now, and 7 consecutive scores of 50 plus in ODI cricket is no joke. Second only to Javed Miadad, who holds the record. 9 consecutive scores of 50 plus in ODI cricket. And surely Imam ul Haq will overtake Virat Kohli in the ODI batting rankings now. I feel like he will go up to number 2, just behind Babar Azam, of course, who is the ODI GOAT, isn't he? 950 plus scores in all of international cricket consecutively, and he had 300s in 3 consecutive games as well. He's done that twice now, is the only player in history to do that twice. And I really run out of adjectives when I'm trying to describe Babar Azam's batting. So, what's your take on both of these batsmen and Pakistan's top three?
Well, like you said, sometimes we just lose words. So, I do believe that we are at that point in time where we just need to invent a new word for Babar because all the other words have failed us and failed him. To be honest, we don't have a word to describe him. Mashallah, I would say that he is in the form of his life and he's only going to get better, going to move forward. And the world knows Babar's name now. The world recognized Pakistan with Babar's name now. So that's terrific. But yes, coming back to Imam, I am very reluctantly going to admit it that I was a huge critic of Imam. I wasn't very keen on Imam Ulaq being our permanent opener in ODIs. I was a little bit more inclined towards Shan Masood opening for Pakistan in ODIs. But that was before the Australia tour of Pakistan. What he did in that tour during the ODIs and how he played, how consistent he is, and how good he looks. He's a left handed batsman. And you understand that they have their own charm. And there's something about left handed batsmen that's just so good looking. So he has all of those ingredients right inside him that makes him so good right now. And I just heard him a little while ago on TV as well. He said that he's worked a lot. And during the break that he had between the 2019 World Cup and then 2021, that 2 year break, he's worked really hard. So I think Imam is well on his way becoming the world number 2. So we have two besties that are going to be world number 1 and number 2 soon. And who knew that Pakistan will one day see this day?
Absolutely. It seems a bit surreal, doesn't it? The two
Absolutely.
Pakistani batsmen are on top of the ODI batting charts. And I feel like Imam, you talked about how much work he has put into his game. The way he uses his feet now, coming down to the spinner, I think that is
Absolutely.
one major improvement in his game. And then this pair, really, they have 800 stands and only in
Yes.
27 innings. That is quite phenomenal, isn't it, when you think about it?
Absolutely. And I mean, credit goes to both of them because obviously they've worked really hard and the kind of understanding that they have, you can see it right there, the way that they communicate and they're very easy with each other. So that plays a big role when it comes to rotation of strike and then choosing your shot and everything. And I'm pretty sure that they are each other's biggest support system at the moment. So that helps.
That too, and you brought up a really good point about rotation of strike. And I was actually quite flabbergasted when I saw that statistic on TV that in the last 4 years, Pakistan has the best rotation of strike statistics in the world.
We have the least amount of dot ball percentage right now, which is very surprising to us because we think that we have an intent problem. I'm using quotes and this is intentional. We have an intent problem or we have a strike rate problem. But when you pull up the stats, you see that Pakistan is actually atop the world right now when it comes to ODIs. So I don't know. I think we are well on our way to improve our game. I mean, there are still shortcomings, and there always will be. You cannot find a perfect 11 or a perfect team in this world. There's always something to work on. But I think, as far as I am concerned, I'm pretty happy.
I think that's the PTSD. It's the trauma from the Ahmed Shahzad days, who was pretty much the best
Oh God.
batsman to pick out the inner ring fielder. So I think that's why we have that mindset.
And the whole Misbah era, you remember that,
Yeah.
Misbah was standing on one end and there is literally nobody supporting him from the other end. It was just trauma. And I do feel like Babar is a bit lucky in this department as well, because he's got Imam, he's got Rizwan, he's got Fakhr, he's got, how can I forget, he's got Shadab, and he's got Kushdil, and everybody who's just ready to support him from the other end. They're not going to leave him alone out there just to be the lone fighter or anything like that. So I do believe that Babar is very lucky, and I think he's built a fabulous bond between the team as well.
And people talk about strike rate a lot, and I feel that even if Pakistan starts a bit slow, look, they always have a plan. They will have at least 100 runs by the 20th over. They are touching 160, 170 by the 30th over. They're aiming for 350 every single time. So you can't really fault them, can you?
Well, we're very impatient, aren't we? We just want them to just go from it from the first ball. We want Fakhr Zaman to just go for a 40 ball 100 every other game. So I guess we just have to be a bit more patient, because from format to format, it changes. The game changes. It changes with the venue. It changes with the weather condition. It changes with the pitch. It changes with the opposition. So we just need to be a bit more patient.
I concur 100% with that. Okay, now moving on, Hijab. There were two players who made their way back into the team after injury in this series. Both of them all rounders, both of them very critical towards Pakistan's eventual campaign in the World Cup, 50 over World Cup in India in 2023. I'm talking about Shadab Khan and Mohammad Nawaz. And your side is just bolstered by such a high magnitude when you have both of these players at your disposal. And Nawaz, of course, he took that second ODI by the scruff of the neck, and he got 4 wickets, conceded only 19 runs in his 10 overs, his career best figures in ODI cricket. And then Shadab Khan, today he just blew the West Indies away almost single handedly. First, with his game saving 86 of 78 deliveries. And mind you, Pakistan was 117 for the loss of 5 wickets at the time he came to the crease. And then
Absolutely.
with the ball, Shadab got you 4 wickets, which included the very crucial wicket of Akil Hussain, who was just going berserk. He was
Yep.
60 runs off 36 deliveries. And at that point, you felt like maybe West Indies have clawed their way back into this contest. But Shadab Khan made sure that Pakistan would secure that whitewash in the end. Just how important is this spin duo to Pakistan's ODI cricket?
I have honestly run out of words for Shadab Khan. I've said so much. I've said so much about Shadab Khan recently on my Twitter, and even with everyone that I've been watching cricket with and everything. But I would say this, that if you ever want to see a perfect ODI performance, watch Shadab Khan today. This performance, this match of his will be remembered for a very long time, because I think it was last time, it was in 2015, that a Pakistani player scored a 50 and then took a 4 wicket haul. I think that was Wahab Riaz, if I'm not wrong, in the 2015 World Cup. But
Zimbabwe, I believe.
yeah, maybe it
Might
was
have
with,
been.
he might have been. So I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think if my memory serves me right, that was it. And now today it's 2022, and we have got someone with such a dominant performance by Shadab. So I am extremely happy. And as you know, that I am an Islamabad supporter, so I have a big soft corner for Shadab, obviously. So yeah, when it comes to being an impact player, I think Shadab basically outruns everybody in the team, because I know this is a very strong team. Everyone has a role to play, but Shadab can literally adjust himself anywhere. You need wickets, you call Shadab. You need quick runs, you call Shadab. You need an anchor for your innings, you could call Shadab. You need a good fielder, you call Shadab. And he's your vice captain as well. So he's indispensable and irreplaceable at the moment, and he's only going to get better. I just hope that he stays fit. We don't have any more injuries. But I do feel that he has a huge role to play in the upcoming World Cups. And same goes for Nawaz as well. I was very impressed by Nawaz. Mohammad Nawaz has improved so much, especially after that finger injury that he got, which was quite serious. He had to miss the whole Australia tour. So I'm so happy that he's back, and back with a bang.
Absolutely. And one person who might not be enjoying Nawaz's performance might be Imad Wasim, because if Nawaz keeps performing like this, then there's really no door back into the team for Imad. But you spoke about a lot of qualities of Shadab Khan, him being versatile, him being a world class leg spinner, a man in a crisis situation, someone who can be an impact player. But I just want to talk about one more thing over here, Jab. This guy is a leader. You can see
He
it
is.
in him. He will play the situation, he will shoulder that responsibility, he will take it upon himself to dig his team out of that hole. And it's not just Shadab. You see that in Rizwan, you see that in Babar, you see that in Shaheen. I am so glad that I am living now in an era of Pakistan cricket where there's so many young players, all of them below 30, who shoulder that responsibility, who want to do well for Pakistan and be that big player who digs them out of a difficult situation.
Absolutely, that is so right. And I think it was Mickey Arthur who once said that Shadab Khan is a born leader. So I think we all concur that now. I mean, we knew it before, but you can actually see the way that he holds the team together. Even with every bowler out there, he's running up to them, he's supporting them, he's telling them, what do you need me to do? How do you need me to set the field? And I know Babar is the captain, but like Babar has full support of his vice captain, and that really helps. That really helps the captain as well, because if Babar ever needs to go out of the game, or he knows that the team is in good hands, and everybody respects that.
Absolutely. And we haven't quite seen that yet, but I'm sure whenever Shadab Khan gets that opportunity, he will lead the team to the best of his abilities, just like he leads Islamabad United. Moving forward, Hijab, I want to talk about Pakistan's fast bowling resources. Now, of course, you've got a left arm pacer in Shaheen Shah Afridi, who is arguably one of the best pacers going around in world cricket right now, and his stock just continues to rise. And he was the winner of the Garfield Sobers Award last year as well. So that's quite big. And then you've got a speed demon with blistering pace in Haris Rauf, who also has a really good slower one now, gets a lot of wickets on that. Might be a bit on the expensive side, but always gets you wickets. And then you have Mohammad Wasim Jr., who's really emerged as one of those line and length nagging bowlers who will test the batsman, not give them a lot of room, reverses the ball fairly quickly, and he's been so successful in ODI cricket ever since he debuted versus Australia. Hassan Ali, going through a bit of a rough patch today. Also, he got a wicket and then it was
Yep.
a no ball and it was very heartbreaking. But I'm so glad that Hassan ended the day with 2 wickets. But
Two
you'd have to
wickets.
say there are other guys in the team who are doing better than Hassan Ali. Of course, Shah Nawaz Dahani also debuted today. He is sort of a local boy in Multan, even though he's from Larkana.
That is his local ground. That's what he
Yeah.
calls it.
His
Yeah.
claim to fame is from Multan Sultan, so that
Yep.
is definitely his local ground. And the amount of support he was getting on every single
Unreal.
delivery, regardless of the outcome of the delivery, even if it was a
Yep.
four, the crowd was cheering him on. So, Pakistan,
Yep.
I've just counted 5 top fast bowlers in world cricket. And I just want to ask you, how do you see them moving forward? Do you see them being rested often? I was really happy to see Haris and Shaheen rested today because they do play a lot of cricket and have a lot of miles under their belt. But then you've got Wasim Jr. emerging, and then you've got Hassan Ali's experience, and now you have Shah Nawaz Dahani, who I think can be a really exciting prospect moving forward. He hits the deck hard and he has the right attitude and spirit to play the game. How do you see this bowling unit operating in the future?
Well, I'm absolutely thrilled and I'm absolutely excited to watch this. I do say that I'm so very much looking forward to Naseem making his
Mm-hmm.
debut. Naseem Shah making his debut for Pakistan, white ball cricket, because I think he's phenomenal. But the players that we have right now, obviously, Shaheen is the number one bowler for me in the world right now when it comes to fast bowling. Then we have Haris, who is improving day by day. And I'm especially a fan of Haris's death bowling. I know that sometimes, like maybe 2 out of 5 times, he might get hit for more runs than one should be, but he's improving, and I really like that. He's an absolute gun fielder.
Oh,
If you've seen his
yes.
fielding, he is so good at that. And being a fast bowler, he's so flexible and he gets there very quickly. And he's such a good bowler. I've hardly ever seen him drop a catch or misfield in the field, and that's a huge booster as well for Pakistan. Other than that, when you talked about Dahani, he's such a nice character that he just
Yeah.
brings a smile on your face whenever he's on the screen. I really like his character. I like his pace. I like his determination. I just feel like he never gives up and he never will. However many times you bench him, he will always make a comeback. Whenever he's given a chance, he will always show you his quality. That's what he is. And as far as Hassan Ali is concerned, I was heartbroken today when he got that wicket, because I was jumping up and down. I was so happy. I was like, Hassan Ali's back. This is the game.
this is the game that's going to bring his form back because he's been doing exceptionally well in the county. So I do believe Hassan has a lot to offer, and his experience, he helps the others as well. You know, you do understand that we consider Shaheen a very senior bowler, but he is still 21 years old. He's not that senior or that experienced just yet. I mean, he did start at 17, but he's still only 21. So you do need a bit of an experience in your fast bowling unit, especially if you're in a kind of situation where you're being hit for a lot of runs. You need someone to calm you down, to tell you how to operate in those scenarios. So I do believe Hassan is very valuable in our fast bowling unit. But oh my God, Wasim Jr., he is so good. He is so good.
Has
I
perfect
was so
hair to
impressed.
add to that.
Exactly. The perfect hair, the perfect boy. The way he targets the stump, it's phenomenal. It's mind blowing every single time the boy gets it right. And the kind of depth that he bring in our batting as well. I know that our lower order is doing very well, but even still, sometimes we happen to lose wickets, you know, in a row. And then Wasim Jr. comes in and he gives you some odd 10, 15, 20 runs that ends up being the difference. So I think he's very valuable and he's going to be a very good addition. But I think we have a bit of a competition here, as in who's going to make the playing 11, because we have got a lot of fast bowling options now.
So that actually brings me to my next question, which is going to be a really hard one, Hijab. If you had to pick a first string trio of fast bowlers for Pakistan for any ODI, a big game, you'd be like, these three. I want these three fast bowlers out there representing Pakistan. Who would those three fast bowlers be?
So I think it would definitely depend on the venue and the conditions as well that they're playing in, because in some conditions I do believe that Hassan is very much effective, and in some conditions I don't believe he is. So if we are playing in countries like England and the countries that have like a bit of a colder weather, I think Hassan would definitely make my playing 11. But otherwise, I think it would be Shaheen, it would be Haris, and it would probably be Wasim Jr. I would keep alternating between Wasim and Dahani based on their form, but I think that's what I'll probably go with. But when Naseem Shah comes in, when he makes his debut, he's in my playing 11 no matter what.
Well, let's hope that Naseem does make his way to the shorter formats as well. I think I'd mostly agree with you with your selections, and you raised a very valuable point over there that Hassan Ali, when he is getting lateral movement, he's a different beast altogether. Think about Champions Trophy 2017. He was your main
Yep,
superstar who won you that cup. So definitely need to keep him around for his experience, his insight, and his contributions to the team outside of the ground as well. I feel like that's very important, and a lot of people forget that. I know a lot of Shoaib Malik critics will never acknowledge the fact that having Shoaib Malik in the dressing room is actually a blessing when he's around, and all of these players speak about it. Just like you mentioned,
they
how
do.
Shaheen speaks about having Hassan for advice, how Haris speaks about that as well. So this is a very
True.
important aspect of the game as well. Now, we've talked about a lot of Pakistan's strengths. Of course, they have won a series 3-0, so it makes sense to start from there. But then now I want to talk about the perennial weakness for a lot of years now. I'd say the good part of the last half decade is Pakistan's middle order. Now, Pakistan's middle order woes have been almost continuous. They've tried multiple people over there: Hussain Tallat, Iftikhar Ahmed, Heather Ali. Right now, Khushtil's doing a decent job. I still feel like Khushtil has some work to do with respect to strike rotation, but at least he's got the power hitting part figured out. And then, yes, I am in favor of trying young blood like Mohammad Haris in this series. I hope they give him an extended run and they don't just
Yep.
discard him based off of two performances. But it is still an area of concern. And when you think about Pakistan's squad for the 2023 50 over World Cup in India, that position is the one that comes up first. Who will be playing at number 5? Because Rizwan is kind of plugging a hole at 4. I do still
Yep.
feel like he's not optimal for the position, but honestly, there's no better person that Pakistan can have right now at number 4. So, number 5 is that pain point, that big question that comes up. So, what's your take on Pakistan's middle order, and what do you think they should do differently moving forward?
So I do believe that this is an issue with Pakistan. It has been a bit persistent. I mean, your top three has been scoring continuously, so that middle order has not been exposed more than I
Mhm.
think a couple of times. It's a nice problem to have that your top three is consistently scoring runs. But then again, if we get to that part where the middle order has to play like we saw today, we go from top three directly to the lower order. The
Mhm.
middle order is not able to sustain the pressure or go through those critical 10, 20 overs that they're supposed to play out. So I do believe that that's a bit of an issue. But I think what Pakistani management is trying to do is create a pair of a number 4 and a 5 in which one is the anchor and the other one can just get going. They don't want two anchors in that position. That's what I feel. because with having Kushdil come up the order and then Mohammad Haris, a player like Mohammad Haris, we all know that he's the kind of player that gets going from ball one. He's not going to care about anything else. He's just going to see a loose ball and he's going to go for it. And then we have Rizwan, obviously, who takes his time, sets up his innings pretty nicely. And then whenever he see a ball that worth hitting, he goes for it. But I do believe that's the thinking behind it. They don't want two batsmen with the same kind of play, with the same kind of style in number 4 and number 5. They want one to be a bit more daler. That's the word we use in Pakistan. They want someone to be there to just get the runs going and everything if the other one is anchoring at that point. And plus, you know that Imam, Babar, they're both the kind of players that are anchors. And then obviously we have Fakhr as well, who does take a little bit of time to get going. But then you don't really have someone like Mohammad Haris or someone like Kushdil at the top who can just, give you quick runs. That's why, they start a bit slow. And then after the 30th or 35th over, we see Pakistan accelerating. But before the 30th over mark, it's a snooze fest. You don't have a lot of runs coming. So that's what I believe it is. They don't want the same kind of anchor batsman in between. And Mohammad Haris would be a very good option. He's very young. He did a phenomenal job behind the stumps today. I was very impressed. And I'm impressed with Rizwan as well, because he backed off, gave a chance to the youngster to put on the gloves and show his skill, which was an excellent move, I think. But I think it's going to take a little bit of time. I do believe that Heather Ali and Mohammad Haris are good choices. And I do believe that the management has the right approach. They don't want two people with the same batting style playing at position 4 and 5. I do believe that's going to pay off.
What about this proposition, Hijab? Like, if you lose wickets up front, maybe you can send Shadab Khan up the order to handle the crisis,
Yes.
and then your hitters can come later on?
Yes, 100% yes. I would go for that 100 out of 100 times. We saw today what he can do. He can anchor the innings. He can hit a 6. He can hit the unorthodox shots. And we see how he batted in the PSL. That was a phenomenal run, right? We saw him play some outrageous shots. You cannot even imagine a player at position 7 or 8 playing such shots. But yes, I do believe that Shadab has so much more to offer as a batsman, and he's going to get so much better. So if that kind of situation arises in which you lose your top 3 early, please send Shadab in at number 4, at number 5. He's going to give you that stability. Plus, how he's a leader, right? So he helps the person who's on the other end as well. He lets them know what the game plan is. He's very smart, very intelligent. So he's not just going to play his game. He's actually going to make a plan on how to reach the target right when he's on the strike. So that's the kind of value he brings. So yes, please send Shadab up the order. I beg you.
Yeah, I mean, if I had any skepticism of promoting Shadab up the order in ODI cricket, it was put to rest today. What a phenomenal performance by Pakistan's vice captain. And I too, like you, am a big Shadab Khan fan. And three-dimensional cricketers like this who can bat well and also bowl magnificently, and then also field to pretty much perfection. We saw the catch that he took in the first ODI. There's nothing like, I've never seen anything like that. But anyway, moving on to the grander scheme of things, I want to talk about the ODI Super League. And Pakistan found themselves in more than a spot of bother just before the Australia series. In fact, when they lost the first ODI versus Australia, I was thinking to myself that, oh my God, are we going to have to play the qualifiers now?
It wasn't just you. I think we were all freaking out.
Yeah. But what a fantastic turnaround it has been. And they've won 5 ODIs on the trot, secured 50 points in the ODI Super League, and have moved up to 4th. And now they are set to play 9 more ODIs in the Super League, 3 versus the Netherlands, 3 versus Afghanistan, and 3 versus New Zealand at home. So I'd say I feel fairly comfortable now with Pakistan's chances going into this 2023 World Cup, not just in terms of qualifying, but I actually feel that this unit, given that they play enough with each other and get gelled and kind of come up with that perfect combination, which I think they're very, very close to, they have an actual shot to win the World Cup, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. 2 things, though. I do believe that Hassan needs to find his form ASAP. And the second thing is that they need to find a dependent, good middle order batsman. That's literally the only 2 things that I believe that Pakistan needs to work on. Everything else seems about perfect right now. Babar's captaincy is good. Babar's form is good. We have got good openers. We have got accelerators with Kushdil. We have got Shadab that brings so much to the table. And our fast bowling unit is something that the world talks about. So everything seems amazing. And with Nawaz and Shadab bowling the way they are, they're good with the spinning department as well. So that's under control as well. The only thing that I do feel is we need a senior bowler when it comes to World Cup. So Hassan needs to find his form, or worst case scenario, we need to find a good replacement of him that we can trust. Because Shaheen needs help when it comes to bowling, especially in the first few overs. A lot of time we see that Shaheen is giving everything that he has from one end, but the runs just start leaking from the other end. And that brings the whole unit down a bit. So that's something that I think needs to be worked on. So Hassan, please find your form, come back to us. We're waiting for you with open arms. And we just need to find a good middle order batsman. May that be Mohammad Haris, may that be Haider Ali, may that be Saud Shakil, whoever it is. That one piece of puzzle is missing. We just need that. And the World Cup is inshallah ours.
Yeah, I hope you're right. And I'm sure that most Pakistan cricket supporters will echo your sentiments over there. And now, just before I end this episode, Hijab, I want to talk to you about the West Indies as an ODI outfit. I do feel that it's their weakest format. They are, of course, brilliant in T20s. And I think they're actually quite a decent team in the red ball format as well. I think they're quite good in Test cricket, even though people
Yep.
might not give them credit for it, but they actually compete to a very high level. Now, their ODI team, you look at some players, they've got the talent. There is no
They
question about
absolutely
that.
do.
You look at Shea
Mhm.
Hope, he got 100, a brilliant 100 in the first game. Yes, couldn't quite get any more
Very
runs in the
impressive.
series, but it was an absolutely perfect 100 in terms of aesthetics and the requirement of the team. Then Shamar Brooks, he's been fairly consistent. He was West Indies' best batter in this series. You've got
Mhm.
someone instinctive and dynamic as Nicholas Pooran who can turn the game on its head. Similarly, I'd
Mhm.
say the same for Kyle Mayers and Rovman Powell and also Akil Hussain. Now,
Akil
this
Hussain.
cricketer,
Yes, how can you forget Akil Hussain?
this is a cricketer who, in this new generation of West Indian players, is personally my favorite. He's miserly with the ball. He's a wicket taking option. He also is quite handy in the field. He took a brilliant catch today. And as we all
Absolutely.
saw, he is no mug with the bat. He can hit them big. And if people actually watch the CPL, they would have already known this. So I think he is a
Mhm.
fantastic find, a superstar in the making. Yes, the fast bowling stocks, they are not as good as they probably should be. I like Alzari Joseph and Jaden Seals, but I do feel
Joseph
that
was
West
very
Indies
impressive.
but I
Mhm.
do feel that the West Indies could do a lot more work over there. How do you see them moving along as an ODI outfit? Of course, their World Cup qualification does stand in jeopardy right now. And it just seems like to me, Hijab, that, they've got the talent, they've got the shots, they've got that big six hitting prowess, but they just lack that match awareness. They cannot occupy the crease, they cannot rotate strike as effectively. And I think that really is their downfall.
I think we saw the same kind of problem with our team as well. If you go back, I would say 6, 7 years, you'd see that we were excelling when it came to T20s. We were so good at T20s. It was almost predictable that Pakistan is playing a T20, they're going to win. But when it comes to ODIs, it was a bit of a struggle for us because it's about that batting long part of the game that we were struggling with. We had just one or two batsmen that would stay on the crease, but the other end was just, they wouldn't hold up that well under pressure. So I think that's what West Indies is facing as well right now. That's the dilemma that they have. Shea Hope, what a player, absolutely magnificent, so good looking, so aesthetic. But then again, if Shea Hope doesn't score, West Indies doesn't cross 200. That's their problem, right? They need somebody. Kyle Mayers was so good in the second West Indies match. He just got going at the start, and I was like, okay, that's very impressive. He's playing some very good shots and everything. But then again, you have to stay on the crease. That's the problem. We have that part covered because we've got Babar's consistency and Imam, and then we have Pushtin and Shadab coming in. But I do believe that West Indies batting unit is struggling a bit. I'm not sure that their bowling unit is struggling. I was so impressed by Akif Hussain. Walsh Jr., Joseph was so good. I do believe they're missing Jason Holder a bit. I think
Mhm.
that's their main bowler. So I think they missed him a bit. But if he would have been here, he absolutely would have made a difference. So I do believe that it's the batting that's killing their chances of qualifying for the Super League at the moment. But if they figure that out, who knows?
Yeah, and you never know if they could bring in Kemar Roach back into the ODI team. I know Pakistan will be
Yep.
haunted by Kemar Roach for quite a while.
Oh,
That
yeah.
innings that he played in that test match. But I feel like if they bring in some experience over there to help Alzari Joseph and Jaden Seals, and of course, you mentioned Jason Holder, he's a world class all rounder. So, yes, when those guys
Absolutely.
will come back into the team, and of course, Evan Lewis, Shimron Hetmeyer, I'm probably missing someone right now as well. There are
Odie and
more
Smith.
players. Odean Smith is there.
Hmm.
So they
Yeah.
do have the talent. I just feel like they need to figure that unit out, figure out that
Yep.
combination, and
That
then they
combination, that perfect playing 11.
they are
Hmm.
definitely a better team than what this result suggests.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
That's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen, for this episode of Cricket Mehfil. Thank you so much, Hijab, for taking out the time. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Honored to be here. It was a lot of fun, and we have a 2 months break. I'm gonna miss PCT a lot, but let's hope that whenever the cricket comes back, we can do this again.
Yes, definitely. I would love to. And I mean, the Sri Lanka series is just around the corner, so we might as
Yep.
well record something then. We'll figure that out, fix a time and whatnot. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this episode, like it, share it, subscribe to our YouTube channel, show it to your friends. And if you have any feedback or have any talking points, do mention them in the comments section below. We at Grassroots Cricket, we're trying to change the landscape of cricket coverage in Pakistan. So support our cause, watch our content, and we'll keep bringing you fantastic guests like Hijab on the regular. That's all for now. Goodbye.
शॉट और कैच आउट हो गया